going, everybody? Episode 50 of the Erick and Brad Show. Episode 50 of the Erick and Brad Show. erickandbradshow@gmail.com. erickandbradshow@gmail.com. It's going to be a great episode today. Later in the show, Erick's going to give you a link to go to buy forged vaccine passports, and then Brad's going to talk about movies that nobody cares about and how he got banned from OnlyFans. Episode 50 of the show, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Oh, God. Dear God. Erick, where are you going to... Oh. I thought you were going to sneeze.
Woo!
Hopefully this week we don't do a half an hour and then have to delete it.
Coming in hot.
And it's like 180 degrees in my house.
Yeah, Brad.
And I'm fucking exhausted. I'm a sleepy little baby bear. I'm just exhausted.
Work. He's a little grumpy panda.
I know you can't see it behind these shades of mine, these free shades, but your boy is tired. I need like a fucking year of sleep. I feel like a coma. I need like a coma. Oh yeah, dude. I feel like
a hibernation period.
Humans should be able to, like Americans should be able to do that.
Talk dirty.
Just go somewhere and just be like, all right, I'm ready for my year.
Hibernate.
And they'll be like, all right, just lay back, sir. Yeah, lay back, be comfortable.
I'll see you in 6 months,
good?
buddy.
Yeah, and you just fucking see you in 6 months.
Point of personal privilege. Point of personal privilege.
That's what I need.
Yeah. Well, heck yeah. That's fantastic. Episode 50 coming at you.
It's fucking beyond stressful, dude. That's why I'm fucking exhausted.
This is one of those days for our listeners that I don't know if you're keeping track, but this is a day that he just got off work. So I bet you can notice a difference in grumpy Brad.
For everyone keeping track at home.
He tries real hard to.
It's beyond stressful.
For the show.
Sometimes I have to remind myself that other people are stressed out at their jobs too. Because sometimes it feels like it's just me. And then I just try to imagine some kid like on Wall Street or something, and he's got some big thing due tomorrow and like some big presentation, and he's like super stressed, and I'm like, okay, there's other people out there that are stressed out other than just Brad. There has to be. But sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And it's like, and I was trying to develop a rant today or some kind of conducive thought that just people recently in time have stopped giving a fuck about their jobs. I feel like maybe decades ago, you didn't hear the same kind of complaining that you hear today. And that maybe it's my generation or maybe it happened before me or something. But it seems like a lot of people just, I mean, if they could just like not do anything, it's all just about waiting until like 5 o'clock. And whether that's working or just sitting there staring at the clock, it doesn't matter to them. They just want to get through the day instead of like being proud of your job. I don't think that exists anymore. But as you can see, the ideas that I was thinking about that today is not a complete thought. I was trying to figure it out.
So today,
No.
Was that what you were doing?
I'm proud of today.
Or were you proud?
Yeah.
Today?
Or maybe everyone that's just ended up at the bottom of the barrel stuck in North Dakota oil field has killed off so many brain cells in their past days, myself included, that you can no longer fucking, do 2 + 2 at work. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's just me. Or maybe it's around the world. People just don't give a fuck about their jobs anymore. I don't know.
Boom. So I'll go ahead and fucking segue into something that it's not a good topic, and I realize it's not a good topic, but it made me happy, and I know other people aren't going to find happiness in this, but I had to do a little math problem this week, which is super simplistic, like geometry, but I haven't done it in a long time, and I had to look it up. I thought I could do it, and I started getting into it, and I'm like, fuck, I don't remember how to do this. And I thought I could cheat my way through it, But when you deal with circles,
Okay.
it's pretty hard to cheat your way through geometry. You know what I mean? Like you better know like the formula for it. Do you know how to find the formula, or do you know how to
No.
find the volume for a cylinder? Do you know how to do that? Not at all. I was excited.
Yeah.
I know none of you guys. You're all gonna be like, shut up. But after I did it and like figured it out again, because it's been a few years since I've done it, I was like, God damn it, it's such a good thing to remember how to do. Like, so I'm gonna pass this information on to you. You do with it as you want. But it's pretty simple math. But I was excited, and it was fun to figure it out. So to find a cylinder, find the volume of a cylinder, it's pi times radius squared times height. So you got to find the radius, which I screwed up first. I did all the math, and I was like, oh yeah, not diameter, radius, which is half of the circle. So that squared times 3.14 times whatever height or length, however you want to look at it. Cylinder's looking sideways or whatever. I was like, bam, bam. Yeah, it's easy. But then, yeah, I don't know. Putting it
because I'm pretty sure to find the circumference of a circle, it's pi times radius squared. So then to just times that by height, then that makes sense to me. If it's a cylinder. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I couldn't remember any of this stuff. Circles. I don't deal with circles a lot. And then
there is, dude. I don't either.
There's a goddamn zoo behind me going on. I don't know what's going on right now. Yeah. For the people on the podcast, you won't see it. Kid. You see it because you can see the edges of my stuff. But
whoa.
But just know there's little kids everywhere. I don't know. I thought it was cool. It was a cool thing to do. And it's like, that's how you do it. All those people that said you'll never use it. I remember kind of thinking that growing up. Like, I'm never going to use this crap. You know what I mean? And now looking back at it, it's like, now I wish I'd cemented all these things in my head. Because I got to Google it. And how do those people 100 years ago? Damn. There's no Google. How'd they do it?
Yeah. They're all just, I don't know what you're going to do. You can't call anybody. Just got to walk to the next village. Does anybody know the volume of this?
Yeah. Yeah, we had to. So what it was, I know this is just work talk. No one cares. But I found it super cool. So we finally we're done demoing. We finally started moving forward in this project. Like now we're actually building shit. We're not just tearing shit apart. And so we had to pump concrete. We're in this dam. We're on the other side of a dam. We had to bring a pump truck in on the other side of the dam. And then he hooks into this, it's called slick line. It's like steel piping. It's 5-inch diameter. And they plug their pump into it, and that's where they pump concrete in. And then it's 700 feet. They pump it, so we put all these steel lines in, all the way through the dam, all the way up the staircase, all the steel line. 700 feet. 700 feet of concrete. That's crazy. I get that. Yeah. I don't know. People who aren't around it, they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. But pumping concrete 700
He's just
feet
doing it just to fill
bananas.
the pipe with concrete?
That's bananas to do. Well, there's no other way to get the concrete from where you can park a truck to where we need the concrete. There's no way to get that concrete over there. You have to go all the way through the tunnel, walk down this big ass tunnel, and then come up. And then so the formula I just showed you is because we had to figure out how much concrete is going to be in that line. You know what I mean? Like, we had to figure that out because we know how much concrete we need in our form, but then we're like, well, we're going to lose 3.5 yards of concrete. So it's 3.5 yards, which is almost, to think like for people who don't do it, 3.5 yards is a full concrete truck sets at 10 yards max. A full pack to the brim will be 10 yards. I don't even think they can do 10 yards. I think it's like 9 yards that they can like max do. So you're talking about essentially a third of a dump truck was just in the line. Just in the line to get to us. I don't know. I thought that was crazy. Everyone that showed up on the job, all the inspectors, concrete, everyone was just like, this is bananas. I'm like, yeah, this is bananas. This is crazy. It was a nutty day. I had a fun week. Hardest I've worked in months was this week. And the sun was shining. It felt great. It was stressful. fuck, it felt great. In a
I feel
t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're building shit.
Easter's tomorrow.
Great.
Woohoo, Easter!
Yeah.
That bunny is back again.
That goddamn bunny.
And Lent ends tomorrow. Fuck yeah, Brad can gamble
Damn
again.
bunny.
Woohoo! Everyone's Lent is ending. Finally.
Oh.
And eat.
That's fantastic.
I did.
Were you doing Lent? Did we talk about that?
I have no idea.
What is Lent? Will you re-explain to me? What
I know
Lent
the
is?
modern day thing is for people to be like,
Oh,
I'm going to quit
you just-
drinking for
just
Lent,
on
or
the
I'm going to
train.
quit doing something. Cheating on my wife. It's like, but that's not where it stems. It stems from like some religious, deep meditation prayer thing, of course. But now it's just like, stop smoking or quit social media for Lent. And I quit gambling. So I haven't placed a bet since fucking, I don't even remember when it starts. February. So now I'm placing some bets and maybe some poker. Maybe some poker next weekend. Because now I can just fucking...
Now it's betting time? Ooh.
No, a poker game. Yeah.
Like
I think.
online
Maybe.
poker or like at someone's house?
No.
Or you're not social distancing,
No.
I guess? Guess that's what Brad's doing.
Maybe. We'll see. Fucking... the beginning of this week was a fucking 60-mile-an-hour windstorm again, so you know exactly what was going on in the Brad household was panic and stress.
Oh my God.
No,
You're right.
Seriously,
You're running through
dude. I was texting my landlord being like, well, we already lost some shingles, and I'm like, fucking, dude, you should come by here, and then he's like, don't worry about it, dude, and I'm like, fuck this motherfucker. So I'm out there with his drill, fucking screwing stuff down on the fence and stuff, and like propping this board up and like under my car and to the fence, and like we're gonna keep this fucking fence up for this windstorm. And as I'm out there I'm on a ladder in 60-degree windstorm, and I have like duct tape in my mouth, and I'm putting siding back on the house, and then my landlord pulls up while I'm up there, and he's like, dude, stop fixing stuff. Don't worry about it. We're going to get it all fixed. You're getting new siding. I was like, all right, let it fucking fly off then. It was just...
Yeah.
So then I Googled the least windy place in the United States, and it's the Catalina foothills in Arizona with an average wind speed of just 1.1 miles an hour throughout the year. So my only question is, who's coming with me? Let's fucking go.
Who's fucking coming with me? Dude, that actually sounds great. Catalina.
Well, this doesn't look exactly like
mixer,
a Catalina wine mixer. It kind of looks like a desert with cactuses, but with one...
Dude, I'm down.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm down. I hate wind too. I don't hate wind as much as you, but wind is an irritating bitch mother. I hate wind. I hate rain. I hate snow.
It's good that you live in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I know. Fucking sucks ass. Arizona sounds great. I should be in Arizona.
1 mile an hour of wind. I can handle that. That is fucking handleable. It was stressful, but
yeah,
it's all over now.
I need to have a talk with your landlord, because it sounds like if you live in a place with that kind of wind, you should probably build a better fence. Like, that should probably be in the deck of cards, like, okay, we're going to have wind problems. We probably shouldn't screw this on with, one brad nail.
A brad nail. It's not a good nail.
Yeah, not brad nailing, and not just one brad nail.
It's fucked, but it's getting replaced. The ground is hopefully not frozen anymore, so you can put fucking fence posts in. And then maybe if everything just gets replaced, then I can calm down when it's windy. But who knows? Probably not.
Dude, so you know what happened to me? It's the most irritating thing. Way worse than a windstorm.
What?
Way worse than a windstorm. Honestly, I couldn't imagine a worse, more irritating thing to happen. And it's ridiculous how it happened. I get to work on Tuesday. Pull in 7 a.m. in the morning when we're like doing our stretch and flex shit. We've driven all the way up there. We're getting ready to start the day, and I fucking open up my back door of my car, throw my hard hat on. I have like a Milwaukee mask thing, and that's what I use for because it's easy for the mask. Because sometimes we have to wear a fucking mask around people. Because we're in Oregon, you know, and fucking. So I throw my Milwaukee thing on, throw my hard hat on. Then last piece, I grab my safety glasses, fucking slip my safety glasses on. I don't know what happens, but just that act of putting my safety glasses on, something gets in my fucking eye, and I'm like, ah, and then I fucking doing this for like 2 minutes, and everyone's like, we're doing stretch effects. They're like, you're all right? I'm like, no, I'm not all right. Okay, I'm not fucking all right. I got something in my goddamn eye. It's irritating the shit out of me. So I'm like, okay, you guys all start. I'm going back up to the job shack. I'm getting that eye wash station. Luckily, we just got a brand new shipment of eye wash shit, and I fucking break up one of those things. Got a fucking bottle. It's like a half.
I've
like
never
a
seen anybody use anybody
like
ever use one.
Oh fuck, we use them all the time. All the time.
Oh,
we
Jesus.
go through eye wash shit
Okay.
all the time. We do wear eye safety glasses. Just shit gets in your fucking eye, and fucking throw that thing in, dude. And they make a cool one. They make a few jobs ago. They make this like pod where you like dump the eye solution in this pod, and you fill up the pod, and then it like you stick your eye in it, and then you like open your eye, and you're like looking through this ocean of fucking water, and then you can like move your eye. And so I got one that's not as cool. It's like a screw top, and it's kind of got a cone for an eye, but all it does is you put it up to your eye, and you like it seats around your fucking eye socket, and then you just squirt water into your fucking eye. And dude, I went through a full bottle. It took a half an hour. I'm up there doing every maneuver I can come up with, grabbing the bottom thing, and then I just give up. I'm like, well, I got to go to work because I just wasted a half an hour digging with my eye. So all day, dude, so irritating. It just jabbed me. It's just moving from one side. I can't find it. I took paper towels and was lifting up my eyelid and then shoving the paper towel up into my eye and then closing my eye and then pulling the paper towel out, trying to like grab it, and and then an hour later, now fast forward an hour, my eye is fucking beet red and it's still just floating around in there, fucking poking me here and then poking me there. 3 days. That fucking lasted 3 days. It was the worst 3 days of my life. I was so mad. I wake up, like the first day I wake up, I'm just like, and there's a bunch of sleep in my eye, and I'm like, oh, thank the Lord. Oh, God damn it. Like, fucking son of a bitch. It's still in there. And then the next day, fast forward another 24 hours. Same thing. Wake up in the morning, and first thing in my brain, like, is it still there? Is it still there? And I do a few blinks, like, is it still? Son of a bitch. It's still there. And just, it was yesterday was the first goddamn day and it was halfway through the day. I'm like doing yard work, and it like dawned on me. I'm like, oh my God, my eye's fine. Like, it's fine. It's finally good. 3 days, dude. Now, I don't care. Like that. There's nothing worse. That hell has to be somewhat close to having a little tiny thing stuck in your eye.
That makes sense.
Like, dude, shove a pineapple up my ass. I would rather have that than 3 days of something poking me in the eye. Dude, I was ready to tear my eye out. I was like, if you are giving me an ultimatum right now, you just rip my eye out and I don't have to deal with this anymore, or another few days of dealing with this, just rip my eye out. Take it.
You started to think for the rest of your life now, this is my life. Yeah. This is my life.
This is my life. Just a little thing poking me.
That's not worse than a fucking windstorm. Dude.
I will get Cujo, and I'm coming to your fucking house and releasing that son of a bitch in your backyard. No. Go fuck yourself. That is way worse. Knock down my whole fence. I don't give a shit. I would have burnt my house down to get that fucking shit out of my eye.
That sounds annoying as fuck. If you had contacts, I'll let you know. If you had contacts, it would have been worse. It would have felt way worse.
Yeah, I've never had contacts. I don't know how that works.
Especially at work when you have to do when there's an eye situation. You're fucked.
Oh, no. Okay, so dude, the first day I get off work and I start heading down the hill. It's 9 miles of this windy ass road coming down off the reservoir. I have to fucking turn my head. So I'm driving and the sun is beating. I'm following the sun.
That is dangerous.
Westward, and the sun is beating in, and I have to turn my head sideways to get it to stop irritating me. I either do that or I have to hold my hand over my head and drive like this. Dude, it was miserable. I get down to the bottom, and then it's like 2 miles to get up to the main road, and there's a gas station right there. Y'all can hate on me all you want for road sodas, but I was so fucking mad. I was so mad. You've never seen me that mad. I get to the bottom of that hill, and I'm fucking doing this the whole way up. So mad, turning my head sideways, driving like this. I hit that gas station. I go in there, and I fucking grab a 12-pack, and I start chugging. I was like, I don't know what's going to save me right now.
That is not good.
Like, I'm so mad.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I don't care. And then you can imagine the rest of the story from then on out. But it was the only thing I could come up with. I was like, I'm so mad and I'm so miserable right now. I can only think of one fix. I've already tried eye wash solution. I'm either going to the hospital to get them to fucking do something about my eye, which I'm not going to do, or I'm getting drunk. I'm getting drunk right now.
You would have went if you would have went to the hospital and started talking to doctors, you would have ended up killing somebody. Maybe just take a deep breath and count to 3.
Go fuck yourself. I'll punch a baby in the face.
That does sound like a fucking nightmare. Well, hell is windy and you have something stuck in your fucking eye.
And you have something in your eye. You're out in the backyard fixing fence post, one eye in it the whole time. There's a wolf running around in your backyard.
That sounds like hell to me. And your phone's just dinging. Bing, 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 bing.
There's a receipt machine.
Oh, dude.
You're trying to fix a fence and you hear the receipt machine going. You're one eye it. A wolf's running in the background. You're just like,
anger. Dude, fucking throw Dwayne Johnson at me at that point, or whoever you want, Conor McGregor. I feel like I can fuck them up after that. Like, that's just how I feel. I don't know. That's fucked. That is stressful.
What do you got, baby
you're
girl?
not gonna like it. So Star Wars. All right. So last week on my days off, I remembered this game I used to play. This is a long-winded thing right here. I remember this game I used to play on original Xbox when I was a little kid. It's called Star Wars Battlefront. And I spent hours and hours and hundreds of hours playing this game
It was a big game.
Yeah.
I didn't play it, but I know a lot of friends.
Offline, not playing it online, just playing the game kind of thing. And I remembered it, so I searched the Xbox store and I found it for $9 and I downloaded it and started playing it. And it was really fun. It was like brought back all this joy, and I was just playing this game and fucking getting into it. The sort of era of Star Wars that game revolves around is like the first 3 Star Wars movies, Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3.
Yeah. OG.
Not the old ones.
Yeah.
The first, yeah.
Oh, you're talking 5, 6, 7.
No,
4,
1, 2,
5,
3.
6.
The ones that came out in the early 2000s.
A New Hope?
Not.
Yeah. So, okay. 1, 2, 3.
So I started, after playing this game for like 3 days, I started sort of getting that vibe from the game. And there's something that I've told a few people in my life, and when I tell this to them, they get really angry at me. Okay, I told our listener Sawyer this about 2 weeks ago, and he fucking ran away from me, flipping me off, yelling, fuck you. And...
that you don't like Tom Petty?
Worse. And it's just that I've never seen any of the new Disney Star Wars movies. And people don't like hearing that, right? So I started getting this vibe from this game, and then I was like, well, maybe I'll just try to watch all the Star Wars movies, because I need something to watch.
The new ones. You're talking Rogue One and
never
all
seen
that
those.
bull crap.
But what...
He's mad at you.
Oh, there's
for
a
not
lot of
seeing
people
those?
that are mad at me for that.
Dude, fuck new Star Wars.
But I've seen The Mandalorian. But here's the thing.
Mandalorian's good. The rest of it's fucking.
So when I think and say, okay, let me just try to watch all the Star Wars movies, then that means start at Episode 1 and work my way through the old ones and then into the new Disney ones. So I'm like, let me just try to do it because I need something to watch. But let me see how far I can get. I'm not gonna kill myself. I'm just gonna if I want to bail, I'll bail. So I did that. I watched episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3, the ones that came out in like 99, 2001, 2003, or something like that. They are so bad that I'm like basically hate watching them, and I'm gonna keep going because now I can watch the old ones, the 4, 5, and 6. And then try.
Star Wars sucks, dude. Star Wars is fucking trash. I'll come out and say it. It's not up to the hype. It's not up to the fucking hype. A New Hope is cool. It really is. Especially for the time. It's cool.
For the time, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Those first 3 movies are so bad that I can't stand George Lucas. I fucking hate the guy.
But then that's what everyone says. That's from Star Wars fans who are like, yeah, but fucking Jar Jar, they fucked it all up and that. Like, well, what are you talking about? You're talking about 50% of the fucking franchise is garbage, is absolute garbage, and yet you're still defending Star Wars as a whole.
Fans, it's a pattern among them. It's a common thing that they hate that they are mad at George Lucas, and I understand why. Look, here's the pros before I get into the cons. The pros of those first 3 movies are a lot of times in them, they're very exquisitely beautiful, like beautiful, appealing imagery on the screen. Yeah,
aesthetic.
There's some wide shots of cities and stuff like that are probably CGI or whatever, or forests, and you're like, wow, that is beautiful. And then the other good thing is there's Natalie Portman, there's Samuel L. Jackson, and there's Christopher Lee. And those 3 actors, when they're on the screen, you have some sense of talent that you're witnessing. But George Lucas and his fucking sexuality of a 12-year-old and his imagination of a fucking 7-year-old is so bleeding off the screen into your eyes. If I ever met George Lucas, I would piss in his face and I would say, this is what it feels like watching one of your fucking movies. Because it is just terrible. The first one is so bad. It's like a Disney movie before Disney bought Star Wars. It's like, this is so... That little kid is just driving me nuts. I'm like, what am I watching? It's like you're watching... I think at one point I saw the Disney Channel, like, Mickey ears in the corner of the screen. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? He's like running around with his friends. It's like the little rascals. I'm like, God, this is so annoying. And then the pod racing and all this shit, and it's like one of the big things against George Lucas is that he just he's like the king of merchandising and video games. So half the shit in Star Wars, like the little Ewok things in Return of the Jedi, the Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian, all these things are just to sell toys, and then the pod racing was just to sell video games. So it's like you're watching a giant advertisement, I think. And I'm just like, and then the third movie, like, I can see the green screen behind the guy. Like, I can see it reflecting off of his face. I'm like, this looks so bad. The music video that I shot with Carl Flystone looks better than this. I was like, I can see it. It's like cheap soundstage shit.
You're gonna get some hate for that statement. Not hating on the Carl Flystone thing, just hate that you're bold enough to say that you can do better than that. So I'll check you on that little
There was
comment
one shot
quick,
where I could see the green screen shit. You know what I mean?
But I will agree with you, not necessarily in how cheap it is. Just Star Wars isn't that fucking cool. It really isn't. I don't understand the fan craze around it. I will say The Mandalorian, they fucking knocked it out of the park on that shit. That shit was actually enjoyable to watch. It was fun. It was a fun thing to watch. It was a good story. It was
George Lucas isn't involved in that. That's Jon Favreau.
And then the new movies that Disney's doing, though, they're like they're not Star Wars. They're like, they have like an agenda that they have to meet before they even start thinking about the actual movie. And you can see it in the character development and what they're talking about. It's like, okay, we got to have a black character. We got to have a strong woman lead. We got to have this. It's like, dude, fuck, you're ruining storytelling you don't write a good story by that being how you start writing a story. And you can tell that's how that boardroom meeting went, was like, okay, we need strong woman lead. We need black character. We need blah, 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 blah. We can't have too many white people in here. Like, okay, we're not writing a good story anymore. Now we're just making a PC fucking thing, and I don't care who you are. So now you've ruined 1, 2, and 3, and you've ruined Rogue and all the other bullshit, the new shit that Disney's created. So you have 3 Starship movies
Star Wars?
that you're banking the Star Wars, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and so that's like what the whole argument to me is that's what you're basing all this on. And I'll give it to you. Fucking pretty cool movies. I like it. I like them. But then again, you're romanticizing something so crazy to the point it's like, no, okay, they're cool. But now really step back and compare that to like Lord of the Rings. Go fuck yourself. Lord of the Rings knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
Way more. Way more. The character development, the CGI, the story, everything. Like they stuck to the book. It's fucking.
Well, you don't see Lord of the Rings fans being like,
now,
we hate Peter
hardcore
Jackson
Star
and
Wars.
shit like that. It's like, no. They don't do that with Harry Potter. They don't hate J.K. The fans don't.
Star Wars sucks, dude. Star Wars sucks. I take Star Trek. Fucking fight me. I'll take Star Trek any day of the week over Star Wars.
I've never seen 1 minute of anything Star Trek. I have no opinion.
Now, I'm not saying you have to watch it because it's not that cool, but it's cooler than Star Wars. Fucking cooler than Star Wars. Fuck Star Wars. I'm not about it. I'm not about Star Wars. The more and more I'm around someone that's into Star Wars, I judge the shit out of them. Especially if it's a girl. If I meet a girl and she's like, fucking Tatooine, I'm like, I will not talk to you. We are done. I don't know if that's ever happened. Go fuck yourself. Oh, I've met a few of them. Met a few of those Comic-Con fucking dumb bitches.
Oh, I'd love to go to Comic-Con. I'd go to
Not about it at all.
Yeah.
I go to Comic-Con too, and I'd half of it, I'd be laughing at people like, you're a fucking nerd. Like, I cannot believe you're taking this so fucking serious, especially with Star Wars shit. But I will, now, sideways a little bit, I will, like, devil's advocate on that whole rant. Fucking R2-D2, cool as shit. You know, I was into it as a kid. That's cool. Fucking R2,
yeah, you were
like
into it as a kid.
Whole thing. As a kid, yeah, exactly. I was also into WWE, but I'm not a fucking grown man going around talking about how cool WWE is. If you're really into Star Wars, you might want to check yourself a little bit. Do a little soul searching. Do a little, try to pull away from your ego. Do a little cloud searching, looking down on yourself, and just be like, is this really a good movie? No, it's not.
So many scenes in those episode 1, 2, and 3. It seemed like you were watching like a Disney high school TV show. The acting, and that you could see, but it was taking place in outer space, and I'm just like, this is so bad. And they're saying lines to each other, and it's like I'm reading the lines on a script. It sounds like they're just reading them. And I'm like, God, this sucks. The problem is, anything you put out that has the name Star Wars with, it's going to make $1 billion. So at that point, your integrity of what you're making doesn't matter because it's a guaranteed sale. And Jon Favreau.
The only thing that saved it, I think, if they would have kept. Okay, when Disney bought it and they made Rogue One, they made 2 movies, right?
I think they've made like 5 of them.
At least 2 movies.
I have no idea.
I think they've only made 2. I may be wrong. But I watched a few of them and was just like, this is fucking stupid. These movies suck.
I've never seen them.
Like, you have the first 3, and then you have the 2000s, which dropped down here, and then you have these Rogue One and all those craps that came out. They've literally ruined the franchise. If it wasn't for The Mandalorian, I will give The Mandalorian a lot of props. That was a decent fucking show. It's like they were trying to go with that's like the new craze is after the HBO fucking show. What? God damn it. The Game of Thrones. After they like set the tone of like, oh, no. You can do a season show and make it literally as big as Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like Game of Thrones is almost Star Wars, comparable.
Yeah.
Not as, but it's a fucking massive franchise. And it's like, they set the tone like, no. You can have a seasoned out show that's more like a movie that can fucking murder it. So Mandalorian's like kind of following that mold. You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's make literally a fucking 12-hour movie. Yeah. And just like go with it. They say, but did you watch any of the behind the scenes on how they did that? It's actually pretty cool how they did that. So what they did is they have like I don't understand director, producer, exactly how all that shit works, but I watched behind the scenes of it. The way they did that is because with how detailed that show is, there's no way that one group of people can make episode to episode to episode to episode. So what they have is they have like a master a master director, but he actually doesn't direct any of the episodes. He hires out the directors for each episode. So they essentially write the season roughly, write it roughly, and then they pass to one director, they pass episode 1, and then they pass episode 2 to another director, and they pass and they do that. It is pretty cool watching behind the scenes, because they're like, yeah, we have to do it that way, or else it would take us fucking 2 years, you know what I mean, 3 years to finish this season.
That's his whole written show. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
he's a great director.
Sorry, but yeah, so it's kind of cool, and then it's actually kind of cool to go back once I watch the making of, and then really you do see the differences from episode to episode to episode on the directors, because one director's like super into CGI, you know what I mean? So they give them this episode, and they're like, okay, this is your shit, because you're like not really into the, shot. You're more into like, okay, let's green screening shit, you know what I mean? And they're better at directing that. And then then you go back and watch the episode like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense why they put him in this role to direct this episode, because it's a fucking, a lot of shoot 'em up and fucking blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I thought The Mandalorian was amazing. That's the only thing in the Star Wars realm that I will defend. They knocked it out of the park on The Mandalorian.
Well, The Mandalorian has its issues, but it is pretty goddamn good.
Well, and and they hired Bill Burr, which just gives me
That's a great
boner.
point.
Yeah.
I'll see how far I can get. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I hope I never have to watch them again. People are talking to you.
We got ins and outs going on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's just terrible. Look, you have the Natalie Portman, Samuel L. Jackson, Christopher Lee. Do you know who Christopher Lee is?
God, Natalie Portman is. Christopher Lee's the guy from
Lord of the Rings. He's got a very deep
Lord of
voice.
the Rings. Yeah. Have you ever done a deep dive into that dude? That dude is the most interesting, literally, I think the most interesting man on the planet.
Rest in peace.
He had a rock band. He has books.
Yeah.
He can speak 11, 12 languages. He was like a secret. He trained during World War II to be if Italy or if England ever actually got defeated, he was going to be a Secret Service dude that stayed behind to infiltrate the Nazis. And so he's like, his military training's crazy. Yeah, that dude is a bad.
And he notoriously he read Lord of the Rings every year of his life pretty much. And
then he
played Dracula. Well, I don't know about originally, but he played Dracula at one point. And he's been in hundreds.
His resume is the nastiest resume of anyone that's ever lived.
It's crazy. He shouldn't have done He shouldn't have done those episodes. Neither should have Samuel L. Jackson. Natalie Portman, maybe you could make the argument because she was 15, and it's kind of a big giant opportunity. But God, they're terrible. And I know Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson are in the first one as well, and those are great actors. But I don't even count those movies on their resume. I just want to forget that they were in it. And it's crazy. And Natalie Portman plays the senator or princess or some shit, and she always has her little groupies of girls behind her.
Yeah, she's essentially like Princess Leia, kind of.
And she has, and one of those girls is Keira Knightley, who I can't stand. And then I was reading in the credits of the movie, another one of those girls is Rose Byrne, who I love, who's been in a few movies. And then another girl was Sofia Coppola, who was the daughter of Francis Ford Coppola, who directed The Godfather and Apocalypse Now. And Sofia Coppola directed Lost in Translation.
Yeah, I know that name. Oh yeah, you've talked all about this.
But I was watching the credits of the movie, and I'm like, holy shit! There was a bunch of those little girls behind her that are big famous names now. I don't know, but God, it just sucks. And I hate George Lucas. I just can't stand him. I fucking hate him for making me sit through that dog shit. I hope he knows. But he's the king of merchandising. He's got to be worth $10 billion. There's nothing that's merchandised shit better than Star Wars has. Not the Yankees, not the Dallas Cowboys. Fucking, it is insanity. I mean, how much Star Wars porn is there out there? There's got to be fucking thousands of hours of it. But whatever.
Yeah. How do you feel about the selling to Disney?
When I watched that first episode 1,
do you think that was smart of him? Like, let's just talk just him. Like, it was smart of him, or did he lose money on that? Like, why wasn't he doing this? Like, he's worth a bunch of money. Why wasn't he making a Star Wars
I don't know.
Mandalorian? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way he doesn't have the money to be putting into that, or couldn't get the money to do that.
Well, watching episode 1 of the Star Wars, I was like, this makes all the sense in the world that this sold to Disney. All the sense in the world. There is nobody else. The people at Disney, when Star Wars episode 1 came out, were probably slitting their wrists and jumping off a skyscraper because they were like, why didn't we make this fucking franchise? Because it is so Disney that it's disgusting. It's just not for adults, I guess. I don't know.
I hear you hacking, Harry.
So I watched something else yesterday that is amazing, and it's called Godzilla vs. Kong, and it was fucking great, dude. You should watch it. You would like it. And I'll say this, it's not a spoiler because they talk about it in like the first 5 minutes. A bunch of it's just about the Hollow Earth theory and just Hollow Earth. And and it's just like, that's pretty cool or whatever. And like one of the main guys does a podcast that's like a conspiracy podcast and stuff. And the girl from Stranger Things is in it, which I thought was perfect, like a perfect movie for her to be in. And I'll tell you what, that Godzilla is destructive. He fucking tears. He's like running through skyscrapers, and I'm like, they like level a whole city, and I'm like, dude, this is billions of dollars worth of damage. Can't you just move around the skyscrapers? You have to run like through the skyscrapers. It's very destructive, Godzilla.
Were they very big? Did they make him like larger than life?
Very
or
big.
Were they
very
scaled
big.
Down?
Yeah.
No, so very big.
Yeah. Like as long as like an aircraft carrier.
Okay. I feel like that's a thing with King Kong and Godzilla is the scaling of them. Sometimes they go like crazy big and sometimes they scale them down. Like sometimes King Kong's like, it takes him a while to climb up a building.
He's only like 30 feet tall.
It's like, okay.
No, there.
Yeah. And then sometimes you see him and he's fucking 300 feet tall. It's like, whoa, big old boy.
I thought it was fucking great. Honestly, it was very good. I mean, it wasn't very good for character development. People online are like, you don't learn more about the characters, like the humans and stuff. It kind of just starts. There's not like, you don't know who these people are, but it's like, who the fuck cares about that?
Well, there isn't a movie that's came out in 30 years where there was a massive criticism behind the movie. I mean, if you go online, you're going to find criticism about.
But you shouldn't. You can't.
So
you can't
I don't
watch
really give a shit about that. If you say it's good, if you say it's worthy, I'll
on HBO Max.
I'll check it out. I probably get HBO Max again.
Yeah.
Ready to.
You shouldn't watch Godzilla vs. Kong for character development. You should watch it for that fucking haymaker boom of hitting Godzilla over and over is great. Very fun. Yeah, it is fantastic.
I love it. So, are you ready to move on?
Yes, please.
Can I get on something real quick? Okay, I don't know how this is going to go. Okay, but I loved it, and I don't know how we're going to implement it in the fucking show. Like, I don't know if when I get done with this, it's a riddle, is what I'm getting at. And so I don't know if it's going to be just like I tell you the riddle, I explain it, and then I just instantly explain the answer to the riddle. Because I don't want to tell you the riddle and then we literally sit here for 2 minutes in silence while you try to figure it out. I don't know if that would, you know what I mean? That might not work. But I was super into this riddle. It was a TikTok, and I saw this TikTok, and then I got super into this riddle, and was like, no, okay, this is how this works. And I got fucking mad. It took up like an hour and a half of my life. And I'm like, well, this is what would happen. This is what would happen. And then I got online and was like, okay, what's the answer? Because they don't tell you the answer in the TikTok. And then I go down a whole other rabbit hole of figuring out. And then it was explained differently. And then I'm telling you the one that I feel like they wrote it out the best to where there's not problems. Because the problem with the TikTok I watched is I was like, well, what if? It was like a lot of what ifs came up. And then it ruined the riddle because too many what ifs. Okay. Sorry, I'm talking so much. Okay, so here it is. I'll probably end up like drawing something a little bit to show you how this works out. But okay, 4 inmates are cleaning up a littered beach as part of a prisoner work program. The warden, who happens to be overseeing the work, decides to play a little game with the prisoners. He tells them that if they win the game, he will let them all free. He then proceeds to bury each prisoner up to his neck in sand, as shown below. So I'll just keep reading and then I'll draw something out for you guys. There's 4 prisoners. Okay. There's a wall between prisoner C and D, which cannot be seen. Okay, I'm going to just go ahead
I think
and
I
start
saw
drawing it
something
out
similar
now
to this.
and show you guys. So you have 4 prisoners. I'll show Brad
I think I saw
first.
something similar to this.
4 prisoners. You have 4 prisoners. 3 of the prisoners are looking towards the wall. So here, and I'll wait. 1, 2, 3, or we'll go A, B, C, and D. So you have A, B, C, and D. I'll show the camera up here. You have A, B, C, and D. A, when they're all buried, A can see the back of B and C. B can only see the back of the head of C. And then there's a wall, and C and D can't see each other. So finish reading this. Have you seen this whole
I saw one
before?
of the same thing, but they were on a staircase.
Yeah. Essentially the same thing. Okay. There's a wall between prisoners C and D, which cannot be seen through or around. Prisoner A can see prisoner B and C by moving his head to the side. Prisoner B can see prisoner C, but prisoner C and D can only see the wall. So I hope everyone understands that. You have 3 people. They're all facing the same direction. The furthest one back can only see the next one, and then that one can only see the one in front of him. And then the wall separates C and D. They can't see shit. Okay. The prisoners are immobilized in the ground and can't twist their bodies to see the person behind them. The warden shows them 2 black hats and 2 white hats, and then puts the hats into a bag to conceal them. He then stands behind each prisoner, chooses a hat from the bag, and puts it on their head. The color of each prisoner's hat is shown in the image above. So, again, I'll stop. So, A has a white hat, B has a black hat, C has a white hat, D has a black hat. So, it's white, black, white, black. Okay. The rules are simple. If any prisoner can figure out the color of the hat on his head, all 4 prisoners will be set free. But they must be sure. If one of them simply guesses and is wrong, they will be shot dead. The prisoners are not allowed to talk to each other, and they have 10 seconds. The warden counts down. 10, 9, 8, 7. All 4 prisoners are silent. The warden smiles. The warden smiles, knowing that he put the hats in such a way that no prisoner could ever possibly know the color of the hat they have on their own head. He continues. 6, 5, 4, 3. I know the color of my hat, one prisoner finally blurts out. The prisoner calls out and why he is 100% certain of the color of his hat. This is not a trick question. Which one knows for certain what the color of their hat is? So it's a riddle, and it had me gone. If you're into this riddle right now, I implore you to please pause the episode and really think about this, because it had me going for a while. And then I was like, once I read it this way, the TikTok was bullshit, because it had me going down this path that once it was explained this way, once the scenario was played out this way, it made some of the what ifs.
There's no trick, like the wall's
away,
not reflective or anything.
No, zero trick. It is legitimately, it makes sense when you actually think about it. It makes sense when explained this way, the way I just explained it. The riddle is
you'd think
solved.
Okay, who has the most knowledge of the colors, and you'd think it'd be A, because he can see 2 people. So then he sees a black and a white. So then everybody sort of has a 50-50 shot. So do you only have to guess your hat, or do you have to? We're just trying to guess which prisoner knows what color hat he has.
If anybody, the way the warden says, if anybody can guess
on their own head,
they'll be set free.
So I would just look at the color of the hat in front of me, and I would guess the opposite. That's what I would do.
Okay, but you wouldn't know for sure. There is a way that someone knows for sure what color.
I don't know how. That's a tough one.
Okay. So if you don't want me to spoil it, please pause and you can fuck with it.
My guess is A. My guess is A.
So this is how this will. No, so this is how it works out. Now, really put yourself in the situation. If you're prisoner 2,
B,
okay, and you're looking ahead and you see a white hat or whatever, you just see a hat. So if you're prisoner B or 2, you're looking ahead and all you can see is C, and he has a white hat. If the warden starts counting down, and everyone knows there's 2 black hats and 2 white hats, if the warden starts counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and the person behind you, if A won't say anything, you know for certain that you have a different color hat than the person in front of you. Because
God damn it,
if at 10, if you had a white hat and if you had the same color hat as the person in front of you, you know that A wouldn't hesitate. He wouldn't hesitate on calling that out. So it's prisoner B is going to be the one that can actually call that out.
That's crazy.
I don't know. I was really into that riddle for about an hour. Me and the girl started arguing it over it. She's throwing some ridiculous accusations out. And I'm like, no, that's not the fucking riddle. God damn it.
Well, I was going to think, can't the person on the other side of the wall, D, just be like, oh, wait, I guess he couldn't see his own hat.
Yeah,
I was thinking he could just start yelling, my hat's white, my hat's white.
But he can't, he doesn't know. No one, you don't know what fucking hat you have.
That's crazy.
I don't know. I thought it was fun. I like riddles like that once in a while.
That's a good one.
Get you going. And then, so that was a quick one. I got another one to throw at you. Sorry to just railroad you into topics. This was a conspiracy theory I heard on TikTok. And I think it's an interesting conspiracy theory, but after I thought about it long enough, I was like, yeah, I don't think that's true. But it was this construction worker who supposedly owned his own construction business. And he's talking about the border. And he's talking about why is it that we've had this fucking border problem for so goddamn long? And it doesn't matter who's in office. Why is it always this border problem? Why do we have problems with the border? And he's like, so I'll tell you as a contractor who hires a lot of Mexican dudes that come to this country, he's like, this is what they do. And I will say, I've seen this firsthand. This is how this shit works out. In Portland, it happens all the time. You get a bunch of Mexicans that cross the border. They come here. They're not legal. They have no documentation. So what they do is they fake all their documents. You know what I mean? So when you hand them a W-2 and they fill all that shit out, they put their name. They put like a real name, but then they put a bogus social security number, and all that shit's just bogus. Everything on there is bogus. So they get the paycheck in their name, but the social doesn't match. But it doesn't matter. They can. It says their name on it. They can go cash the check, and so that's what they do. But and I've never really thought about this till this dude's theory is he's saying. But then at the end of the year, when it comes to taxes, none of them claim because there's no reason to. They're never going to get money back from the IRS because their social security's bogus, or they'll have 20 people claiming off the same social security. So the taxes are all fucked up. And he's like, so his theory was the reason the border never gets fixed is because the government just gets to keep all those taxes. And the IRS doesn't give a shit now because they never have to pay back any of the taxes. They just get to keep all of it. They never have to pay anyone back for any of that. And I like the theory. I like the idea of it. But then I was just thinking to myself, like, let's say you claim zero dependents. You only get back like 10% of your taxes. So if you're at zero, if you're at a zero dependent thing. So you're telling me there's a conspiracy with the IRS over 10%? You know what I mean? Like, it would make sense if it was $20,000 per person. That actually makes more sense. But you're talking about like $1,500 to $3,000 per person. I don't think there's a conspiracy over that. That's such a small amount of money. I did like the conspiracy though. I was like, I've never thought about that. That's not a small amount of money though. That there is.
That's just a small amount of money per person.
There's not. So there is an incentive. I'm not saying there isn't. I just. It's interesting to think about, right? It was a little interesting to think about, like, oh, I never thought about that.
Because somehow, so when people are like, oh, we shouldn't let them in, they don't pay taxes, you're saying they do pay taxes? because the employer is just pulling it out
to.
automatically, unless it's under the table. Yeah.
Yes. As far as framing goes, yes. There's a shitload of illegal immigrants. They just lie on their tax shit, but they get taxed the same
unless
as
it's under the
everybody
table.
else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless it's under the table, which there is a lot of that. But there's a fucking shitload of white people doing the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, those are just small end construction companies. But as soon as you get to a higher end construction company where there's more than 10 people, they ain't fucking their books up. You know what I mean? Like, a company like that is not going to do bullshit books. Like, or, they're just risking way too much.
It might be.
But there was the construction company I worked for, there was easily 300 employees, if not 500 employees. And guaranteed half of those were illegal immigrants.
Oh my God.
So that's just that company. That's 250 illegals.
Think about a company in like Southern Cali or Texas or something. You're talking about Portland.
So let's just I don't know any of the numbers, but how many illegal immigrants do you think are in the country? I don't know what these numbers are.
1.5 million.
Let's say 100,000. Let's say 100,000. Let's just keep it at 100,000. What's the let's get the
I said 1.5 million.
Okay, so let's just go with 100,000 that are paying taxes. So let's go with that. So you have 100,000. So then let's say at the end of the year they collect what? The lowest number. Let's say $1,000. That's $100 million. That's still kind of small potatoes.
Yeah.
I would think in the IRS.
Well, I guess that's a small number.
Million.
That's a small number for like the U.S. economy and shit like that. But say you have some Jeffrey Epstein guy hiding 100 million, the IRS is going to be on top of that shit. You know what I mean? But as far as the whole United States going for some border conspiracy, that's not a lot of money. They just did a $1.9 trillion COVID bill. 100 million is nothing. But if Eric Beavers is hiding $100 million, that's a lot. That's a big deal for the IRS.
But they wouldn't stonewall. You know what I mean? You know exactly what I'm saying. You get exactly what the conspiracy is there. After I thought about it a little bit, I'm like, no, bro, come on. That's ridiculous. That's not enough money.
I see what you're saying.
It's just not enough money. Maybe it is. Maybe our math there is wrong. And it's more like not 100,000. It's more like 1 million people. So if you had 1 million people at 1,000, what is that? Fucking, if you have, it's essentially another zero, right? If you have 1 million people at the lowest, let's go high. Let's say $2,500 that they're going to make off each person. That's $2.5 billion. So if it is that's a little bit more of a substantial number. $2.5 billion.
Yeah. Would it be possible for them to know that number? I don't know if it would be possible.
Oh yeah. Well, of course they would. I would say they could ballpark 70%. Yeah. They would be able to figure out about 70% of that. Because the one thing that people do here is they all go under the same Social Security. So that would be an instant red flag when you have a bunch of Mexican names, Gonzalo and fucking Juan and fucking blah, blah, blah. And there's 20 of them all on the same Social Security number. It's like, okay, all these people are illegals. Like, obviously.
I don't know.
Probably
not.
I don't know. It was just interesting to me.
There's probably a bigger. You're probably like the tip of the iceberg. There's probably a bigger reason behind a decades-long border crisis. It's probably drugs or something. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, maybe it's tax money.
You know what I just thought about though? What is bullshit is why don't we get the money back? Why don't we deserve that money? That's $250 billion. Or whatever, $2.5 billion That should go right back to the American.
No,
that
it's off
shouldn't
the
go
books.
to the IRS.
It's off the books.
That shouldn't go to the government. That's off the fucking books. I want that as our stimulus money. Go fuck yourself. That should go right back to us. I don't care if that's $200. That's an extra $200 goddamn dollars that I get in my fucking book. Go fuck yourselves. And the IRS just every year just like...
What money?
Fucking, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
And they're putting it into Bitcoin, and then they're fucking quadrupling it.
Well, Bitcoin was created by the IRS, okay?
No, it was not. I have 3 more things. They can be quick. They can be very quick things.
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready to
they'll be
wrap
quick
up.
then.
So
so I was just thinking about the one thing. Do you ever, like, when you're in a high place, elevation-wise, with other people, do you ever kind of think, like, what if I just fucking push somebody off?
Yeah, I mean, I think about what if someone pushed
Yeah.
someone else off, or if I push someone else off.
Is that like
I
a
guess
common
so.
thought amongst people? I hope so.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I remember one very distinct memory. I was just standing, and this guy was like leaning out the balcony smoking a cigarette, but he was like really leaning over the railing, and I was like, what if you just like took his legs and just like fucking... And I was like, whoa, that was weird.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one of my earliest memories is kind of being next to an edge, and then I wasn't leaning over, but I was close to an edge, and it was scary, and I'm with friends, like younger people too. We were all in like the 3rd grade or something like that, 4th grade, and I remember having to like trust these people, and I remember having like a mental problem, like, do I really trust these people
that they might
that
just
I'm standing
push you
next
off?
to? Like, do I mentally trust this person that he's not crazy? You know, that he's not going to just push me over the edge.
Okay. So yeah. Hopefully it's not just me and you. And another thing I don't like, I'm not into eating the tequila worm. I did it once. It's in mezcal or whatever, tequila. There's a little worm in the bottom of the bottle. If some people are into that, you know, go for it. I'm all for that. I ate it once, and it's fucking stupid. I can't stand it. It's nasty.
Never done it. I don't think I would either.
Bottom of the bottle after you finish the bottle of tequila, fucking eat the worm. Okay. It is gross. And then another thing, to sort of end on a low note. So I was just listening to the 10-year-old radio show I listened to, and they were talking about the Casey Anthony trial, because they watched the verdict on live TV or whatever on the show, and they were like watching the jury be like not guilty for Casey Anthony, who was convicted or allegedly of killing her daughter. And
yeah, I forget that she wasn't convicted, right? Which is just absolutely fucking
Well, the thing
bananas.
is, it's like trials like that, like OJ, Casey Anthony, Trayvon Martin, everyone, it's like in the United States, everyone sort of becomes a lawyer, and they're like, no, and they're like, they like have discussion, because like during that Casey Anthony thing, that's all they talked about for like a week, and they're having discussions like, no, she did, but they found the browser history, and everyone like sort of becomes a lawyer, and as soon as the news starts like interviewing the people that are like holding the signs, that's when you know shit's just gone completely out the window, because it's like, in big trials like that, I feel like it's sort of a fun thing in the country. Like, we're all watching the trial and everyone's sort of debating about it. And I sort of wish we had one of those. But at the same time, it's annoying to have those, because I remember a little bit of it was with Trayvon Martin. Like, no, dude, did you hear the police tapes? Did you hear George Zimmerman, he was stalking him, and like everyone sort of becomes a lawyer, but then they get mad at the jury for being like Casey Anthony not guilty, and it's like, dude, you weren't in the courtroom, you don't know. It takes so much evidence to convince somebody. If you're mad at anybody, it should be the prosecution for not getting that conviction, for not doing their job, if she's really guilty. Because maybe she's not guilty. You weren't on the jury. You didn't hear the fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I've listened to a whole podcast where they deep dived this whole thing, and the whole story to me was ludicrous. And the fact that she's like, I believe she was like out
30
partying.
days.
when her daughter's missing and shit,
and she googled like how to kill a kid and all this crazy shit.
Yeah, it all very much seemed like she did not want a kid and kill this kid.
And it's on the prosecution to get that to happen.
It is. You are absolutely right. And no one is in the courtroom. And you would hope that, and
some nut with a sign is not a lawyer.
You would hope that if one day maybe you were in the circumstance where your life depends on a jury doing it, you would hope, and maybe this was the case, to where they have to find you, without a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You know what I mean? And there is circumstances where things may look really shady in your direction, that you're guilty of something, and you would hope that a jury isn't going to be, swayed just off emotion and just like, well, that's sketchy. But it's like, well, can you really prove I did this? You know what I mean? Yes, it seems weird that this all happened, but there's no proof that pins me to this. I didn't do this. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah,
it's crazy.
You gotta play devil's advocate on that. It does seem like that bitch definitely.
I agree, but it's like you got to get that conviction. So there's a trial happening right now. That's sort of a big trial that it's a big trial. There's no argument really. If you have an argument against it, you're gonna have. I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm following it. I've just seen a couple things about it. The trial of this Derek Chauvin guy who killed George Floyd or whatever in Minneapolis. The trial's happening right now to see if he's guilty. And I was like, can you even imagine? It's a really dark thought to think about and a really scary thought to think about. But I thought about it after listening to the Casey Anthony thing and leading up to it, how everyone on the radio show was like, dude, it's 100%. It's fucking 100%. She's guilty. You see it on her face. But can you even imagine what would happen to that city if that happened?
You mean America? You mean America?
Can you even?
What would happen?
Minneapolis would be gone.
It would burn to fuck down. Portland would burn. Seattle would burn.
It's true.
LA would burn.
And
Vegas,
I'm not trying to jinx. I'm not trying to like
Miami.
I'm not trying to like jinx anything.
I'm not trying to like jinx
anything. I had that thought and I was like, that's a scary thought.
Oh no. It's funny. I thought the same thing, but I'm like, it's impossible. One, it's impossible because the jury wouldn't. There is not a single person in America that doesn't know what's happening. It's impossible to find. And they talked about that when the few things I've gotten off the news. They know this. Like, that's because, in the initial preliminary hearings and shit like that, are picking their jury. That's part of what comes up is there's no way to get an unbiased.
That's crazy.
Jury. You know what I mean? So really what's going to happen is, from I think what I understand, they're putting more weight, I think, the defense on appeals and shit like that. You know what I mean? Because they're like, there is no such thing as an unbiased jury in this case. Because in like Casey Anthony or OJ or Trayvon Martin, there's no video of these things. This one you have video. So hopefully this is motherfuckers 100%, because I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. That'd be fucking crazy. Did you see the video? There was a TikTok where they just released the footage right before it happened.
Saw a video from inside a gas station. Yeah.
The convenience store, and he's all fucking tweaked out and acting weird as shit. And at first I was like, what am I even watching? And then I was like, oh, okay, I get what's going on here. I was like, yeah, that dude's definitely high as a fucking kite. No. There's no argument there, which doesn't mean you should die. I'm not, don't misconstrue that thing. But I also would be in a gas station like, get this fucking dude the fuck away from me. Like, that's what
you've also been high in a gas station.
Not that you should. I've definitely never.
Yeah. No, you probably haven't
done any of these fucking maneuvers.
No. I'm just. Let's just. I don't know. It's just weird. But I'd rather have a trial. I'd rather have.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Not such a depressing trial, and also, I mean, that might not be the best to say. Don't hold it against me too much. But as far as the jury goes, like, let's say it's a different trial where the person actually didn't kill the other person. Like, it's a Casey Anthony. She probably killed her daughter, but let's say she didn't. the jury, it kind of seems weird for the jury to be held hostage with the idea of if we convict one way, the whole fucking country's going to burn down. I think that's a little unfair for a jury. You know what I mean? Because I'd be like, well, it's either the whole country's going to burn down or this one person's going to go to jail. Like, but it's kind of unfair for them to have that weighing over them. But that's just the people that are just going to do the burning. It's on them. But obviously, one person killed another person. It should be open and shut case.
Yeah, it's like they really need to go fucking up to Alaska and pull some Hills people out of the woods. You know what I mean? And be like, you got to go on jury. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about, boy? And it's like, no, you're the only person in America that doesn't know what's happening right now. And they're like, huh? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? They're just like, no, you're the only person that can unbiasedly go through this trial. Do you think there's, how many people
12.
are on a jury? 12? Mm-hmm. Is that it? 12? Do you think there's 12 people in the United States that don't know what's happening right now? Do you think there's 12?
Yeah.
12 people.
Definitely.
Like that are over 18 and, cognizant.
I mean, they might be like homeless
people. You could find them?
You know what I mean? But you probably couldn't even go to like London and get 12 people that don't know. I think. I don't know. Social media is crazy. This video was probably seen by everybody in Europe as well.
Everyone in the world, unless they're in Uzbekistan or something like that. Everyone, at least 90% of the world knows who George Floyd is. I would bet money on that. People in Russia, people in England, especially anywhere in like England, Australia, Germany, France, anywhere like that, absolutely knows what's going on there.
Hopefully it's open and shut because it should be, because one person killed somebody. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
Well, we'll see what happens.
I want a fun trial. Episode 50.
Yeah. Episode 50, Eric and Brad show. We love you guys. We opened it up with Siberian Summer by Hoppify, and I haven't picked an outro song, so you'll find out. Bye.
But they all see is you need help. But still you try so hard to cover up your games. You try so hard, hoping that one day something gon' change. All of your time covering up your tracks. Spend all your days running away. Now you gotta watch back, and that's the facts. You spend so much of your life scheming and trying to get over. Got you wondering why you come around. All you get is cold shoulder. You try so hard to cover up your games. You try so hard, hoping that one day something gon' change. You try so hard.